It's times like this where I really wish that social media didn't exist, and a lot of people feel that way, but me specifically with the wrestling community, because Jesus Christ, people are dumb, man. People are dumb. People are dumb as shit. Wrestling fans, I don't think I've ever seen a group of people that are a part of a fandom that lack so much intelligence, have so little intelligence among all of them combined. Seeing people calling this best WrestleMania in years, saying this was a great show, was a nice escape, WWE made the most of what they had. What the fuck are you watching? Now, while the show had absolutely zero expectations, and everyone went into this pretty much thinking that all the matches were going to suffer, and we were not going to get anything of substance, while it did turn out just a little bit better than expected, just a little bit, that doesn't mean that this was a good WrestleMania. Matter of fact, it was actually really bad. There was a lot more bad on WrestleMania 36 across both nights than there was good. And to all those people saying that, oh, they're going to give him a pass, why are you going to lower your standards just because of what's going on? Why are you going to give a pass to trash just because of what's going on in the world today? Let WrestleMania calm your nerves. Calm my nerves? This WrestleMania pissed me off. All these people coming at me on social media saying, I'll be happy that we got a show to begin with. How can you be so negative during these times? What is wrong with you, man? Where's your gratitude and appreciation? You want my gratitude and appreciation? Fine. I call this one gratitude and this one appreciation. I never said I don't respect the grind and the determination and the effort that the superstars and the production crew put forth. I respect everything that they did going into night one and night two, and I respect the fact that they gave us a show even though they didn't have to. But that doesn't mean I'm going to say that it was a great show when it wasn't. I don't give a shit what's going on. I don't give a shit if we're living in a pandemic. I don't give a shit if there's earthquakes. I don't give a shit if mega tsunamis are headed our way straight out of the movie 2012. WWE knew exactly what they were doing, and they were fully responsible for putting on a WrestleMania show. Vince McMahon knew damn well what he was doing when he decided to go forth to WrestleMania. It was his decision to go forth, and if you are going to put forth a wrestling show, I don't give a shit what's going on. I am not going to lower my standards to the standards of a normal pleb in this fucked up society just because of the fact that I want to take my mind off of what's going on. If I want to take my mind off of what's going on around, and if I'm going to praise something and be happy about something, then it's got to be good. And what we got wasn't good. I don't give a shit if aliens are abducting the world's hottest celebrities. I don't give a shit. WWE puts forth the show. I am still going to analyze it and break it down and criticize it just as I normally do. Even if there were people there. It has nothing to do whether there was people there or not. And you know what? If that makes me a prick, then you know what? I hold that name high above my head on a picket sign, right down to the very last letter, and I represent it proudly. I don't care. And you know what? If that makes me a prick, if speaking the truth and dropping the facts make me a prick, then you know what? I'm going to turn it up all the way today. I'm going to turn up the lever to maximum prickage. That's even a word. Who cares? This is my channel. I'm going to make it a word if I want to. Maximum prickage. We did get a couple of matches that actually did live up to expectations of WrestleMania, even though this was far from a show being worthy of the name WrestleMania. I got no problem with being positive. Matter of fact, a lot of people know me outside of YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. A lot of people know me off social media, and I'm a rather positive guy. I'm a rather optimistic guy. I usually try my best to make people smile and make sure that others that I care about are happy. But when it comes to this, I am going to be as brutally honest as possible, and I'm not going to give a pass to anything. I'm not going to give a pass to anything, and whether you want to admit it or not, you can, if you enjoyed it, then by all means enjoy it. But just so you know, just because you enjoyed something doesn't mean that it was truthfully or factually good. There are 7.7 billion people in this world, and I can guarantee you at least one person enjoys eating a rotten banana. Does that mean that a rotten banana is good? No! It's a rotten banana! It shit fucks up your stomach! Same thing with this. Just because you enjoyed something doesn't mean that it was good. Just because you enjoyed WrestleMania doesn't mean that it was a good WrestleMania. Matter of fact, it was probably will go down as one of the worst shows of the year. And that's saying something considering we got Super Showdown and Elimination Chamber. And those were shit shows. That's pretty much, I don't really know what else to say to open up this video. But I'm going to break things down in the only way that I know how. And I'm going to give you every possible reason why this was a very, very bad WrestleMania. And I'm going to drop every single possible fact on you. And by the end of it, all of you will have your mouth shut. So here's what I want you to do. I want everyone to grab a drink, pour it in a nice solo cup, a nice Street Profits solo cup, drop some ice in there, microwave yourself a bag full of popcorn, extra salt, pour it in a bowl, sit your silly asses down, and let me educate you. Let me, the greatest mind in the professional wrestling YouTube community, let me educate you with my oh so intelligent mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. I am the wrestling community's resident prick. Got the right shirt on for this moment as well. And this is the rewind for WrestleMania 36. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope that we can have a great time. I hope that we can really have a great time today. A couple of things before we start. Follow me on Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS. Follow me on Instagram and Periscope at TheDJStorms. And add me on Facebook. All the links are in the description. For collaborations and business inquiries, send me an email, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. You guys have been really killing it with the views. The views have been very consistent. I think I have almost 1,000 views combined on the last 6 videos that I did. The Dark Side of the Ring reviews have been doing very well. I'm going to see if I can get a Dark Side of the Ring review of the Brawl for All, which is actually tomorrow. That's tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can get that up on Thursday for you. I may or may not do a Lightning Flash update. I may want to take a little bit of a break, mainly because of the fact that WWE is not going to be recording. They're not going to be, they're not going to be recording their shows. I believe Orlando's still on lockdown until the 30th. So they have the Raw WrestleMania recorded, which is taking place tonight. And then I believe that's pretty much it. It's like the Raw, NXT, and then the SmackDown. And then after this week, that's it. So I may or may not do a Lightning Flash update. I'll let you guys know. Wednesday, actually, I will be back on the Blue Riot podcast. Shout out to the Blue Riot. I'm going to be the new co-host of a new show on the Blue Riot podcast. Every Thursday, me and the Blue Riot, my boy from Arkansas, we are going to be reviewing AEW Dark and AEW Dynamite, and the show for the Blue Riot podcast is called AEW Darkamite, with Riot and Storms, of course. That is going to be every Thursday. Follow him on Twitter at Blue Riot with 2 T's. Follow Blue Riot Podcast on Twitter at Blue Riot with 2 T's pod. And you can also pledge to Patreon as well for the Blue Riot Podcast. You can get all the information from him. I'm very grateful to be doing the podcast with him. He is a very intelligent mind. He's a very, very informative person. Great guy as well. Give the guy a follow. Show the guy some love. I can't wait to be doing that every single week. If you missed my review for Dark Side of the Ring, The Life and Crimes of New Jack, link is also in the description. Hit that thumbs up. We're going to try and get this video to 20 thumbs up as per usual. Leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on WrestleMania? What are your thoughts on me and my prick-like attitude? hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2K. Progression is very, very slow, but I know you guys can get me there. Hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. Night 1 of WrestleMania. We had the pre-show match between Drew Gulak and Cesaro. I was expecting a lot more from these two, to be quite honest with you. I really was, and it really does piss me off how WWE went in there. They announced this match, and I'm thinking, okay, this could actually be a solid workhorse match. And by the end of it, it went 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Completely shafted. Completely shafted. Drew Gulak did a modified moonsault tilt-a-whirl arm drag on Cesaro on the floor. That was actually very nice. I've never seen Drew Gulak do that before. Drew Gulak targeted the arm of Cesaro towards the mid-portion of this match. Cesaro with a power slam big boot combination for a 2. Drew Gulak went for the Gulak, but Cesaro pushed him into the referee, and then Cesaro hit an uppercut, and then he had Drew Gulak up in a torture rack position and did an airplane spin in the torture rack position. He actually put his hands on his hips, a no-handed torture rack airplane spin, which was actually very impressive. Dropped Drew Gulak to the floor, and Cesaro wins the match. This is a 1-hour pre-show. 1-hour pre-show with one wrestling match on it. And Cesaro and Drew Gulak don't even get 5 minutes on a 1-hour pre-show. I don't give a shit if this is pre-recorded or not. Performers like Cesaro and Gulak should not be getting anything less than 11 to 12 minutes. Drew Gulak may be on WrestleMania. Cesaro may be on WrestleMania in a singles match, and that's great and all. Cesaro gets the win at WrestleMania on the pre-show in a singles match. That's great for Cesaro, good for Gulak, but at the end of the day, this match accomplished nothing. The guys were barely even given enough time to showcase what they can do, and it just ended like that. It was in and out. The majority of these matches on WrestleMania across both nights were shafted. None of these matches, like about 60 to 70% of these matches barely even got enough time. A few of these matches actually went over the limit, which we'll talk about. But this is not a good start to WrestleMania whatsoever. 4 minutes and 35 seconds on a 1-hour pre-show with one wrestling match, and you can't even give these guys more than 10 minutes. You can't even give these guys a nice, solid 11 to 12-minute match to actually showcase what they can really do. I'm telling you, it really would have made the show just a little bit better. Not a good start to WrestleMania at all, and it did not set the pace. And it did not set a good pace for the show. And night one, it took us a while to actually get something of substance on night 1. Main show. Main show started off with a women's tag team title match between the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I really don't know what you want me to say about this match. I mean, if you saw the one back at Hell in a Cell, you pretty much saw this one. Very sloppy in the beginning and insanely boring. Insanely boring. This match did not do anything to excite me for what was to come for the rest of the show. And hey, I mean, if you wanted a reason to turn off WrestleMania before it even got started, Alexa Bliss is in the first match of the night. How about that? Kabuki Warriors isolated Nikki Cross towards the mid-portion of this match. Bliss came in off the hot tag with a couple of clotheslines. Kairi Sane hit a double stomp right to Alexa Bliss's face. Yes, right to Alexa Bliss's face. Probably the first legitimate bump that Alexa Bliss has taken in years. Nikki Cross got the hot tag. Cross by to Sane for a 2 count. Cross with the cover. Kairi with an elbow drop off of the top rope when Nikki Cross covered Asuka after a spinning neck breaker, breaking up the pinfall. That was actually one of the best spots of the match. We had Asuka trying to lock in the Asuka lock on Nikki Cross, and Alexa Bliss came off the top with Twisted Bliss to the back of Asuka, and then Kairi Sane with a spear taking out Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss was neutralized. We had a modified Doomsday Device, a forearm powerbomb combination on Nikki Cross, which I actually thought that was it. I actually thought the Kabuki Warriors were going to retain right there. Nikki Cross kicked out, spinning neck breaker, and a Twisted Bliss, and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss win back the women's tag team titles. Outside of the Doomsday Device and outside of the Twisted Bliss and Spear sequence, this match was a complete waste of time. This match went over 15 minutes, by the way. This match went over 15 minutes, and it gave you every possible reason in the book to turn off WrestleMania before we even got out of the rafters. Or we even got out of the gates, out of the rafters. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss have won back the women's tag team titles. Am I shocked? Absolutely not, because Vince McMahon gets off at giving Alexa Bliss championships. You know, there was a report that Kairi Sane was actually offered a lucrative contract from Stardom, and her and Io Shirai were offered contracts to return back to Stardom. You know something? With the fact that Kairi Sane just got married with that deal, and the fact that she just lost the titles here, I wouldn't be surprised if Kairi Sane leaves. She's reached her ceiling. She knows that she's not going anywhere other than this worthless women's tag team title reign with Asuka. I'm surprised that they haven't retired the damn championships yet. This tag team pairing of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, I'm telling you right now, it is one of the worst things. It's one of the most annoying things on WWE television right now. Nikki Cross is a Scottish mini-me of Alexa Bliss, and seeing where Nikki Cross was 3 years ago, being that Scottish psychopath that she was, and then she came up to the main roster and seemingly had a immediate change of character just out of the blue. Now she's sucking up to Alexa Bliss, and she became Alexa Bliss's best friend, and now they're women's tag team champions. The promo work between Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, every single time they have microphones, I legitimately want to rip my ears off of my head. Alexa Bliss, I'm telling you right now, the day that Alexa Bliss retires as a pro wrestler, I cannot wait. I'm counting down the days until Alexa Bliss retires completely as a pro wrestler, so I will not have to watch her embarrass the women's division anymore. The day that she does, I'm throwing the biggest block party that my state has ever seen. Moving on. Baron Corbin. King Corbin versus Elias. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. I mean, I did not get enough sleep last night. You know, I guess I should give props to WWE, actually, because WWE actually does think about their fans, specifically their fans who have insomnia. They provided the cure for insomnia right here. Baron Corbin, King Corbin versus Elias. Corbin comes out, showed a replay of him knocking Elias off the balcony, and he demanded that the referee count to 10 and Elias would be forfeited, or he would forfeit, and Baron Corbin would win the match. Elias came out, smashed the guitar over Corbin's back, threw him back in the ring, and the match started. I actually thought that Elias was going to hit the quick finisher and defeat Corbin, which realistically he should have done. Corbin targeted the shoulder of Elias for the majority of the match. Elias with a modified crossroads on Baron Corbin for a 2. Corbin with the deep 6 for a 2. Elias ended up rolling up Corbin after Corbin was caught with his feet on the rope by the referee. Elias grabbed the tights, and Elias beats Corbin. This match went 9 minutes. Felt like it went 9 years. I'm not even going to discuss what happened. I'm not even going to discuss anything else about that match. What did this match do for Corbin? Nothing. What did this match do for Elias? Nothing. What did this match result in? Nothing. One of the many matches that didn't even belong on WrestleMania. Moving on, Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura called. They want their WrestleMania match back. This did not even go 10 minutes. This didn't even go 10 minutes. A lot of the matches on the show didn't even go 10 minutes, but if there was one match that was a major disappointment in every sense of the word, look no further than Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. I really don't even know where to begin with this. I was pissed beyond my imagination after I saw what happened. And the fact that some people are even defending what happened in the end, it just goes to show you how dumb these people really are. Becky Lynch was on the receiving end of a lot of offense from Shayna Baszler. They were actually brawling on the outside to start this match. Becky hit a rock bottom on the apron, rolling Shayna back into the ring for a 2. Shayna Baszler with a butterfly slam into an armbar. Shayna Baszler actually tried to lock in a disarmer of her own. Becky Lynch tried to fight out. Becky Lynch was caught in a Karafuda clutch. Becky Lynch fell backwards onto Shayna and rolled her up in the same fashion that Kairi Sane rolled her up at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 back in 2018, and Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship in 8.5 minutes. 8.5 minutes. How do you spell ruined? Pop quiz of the day. How do you spell ruined? S-H-A-Y-N-Y, or N-A-B-A-S-Z-L-E-R. Ruined! Ruined. I do not want to hear a single fucking peep out of anyone trying to tell me that this was the right ending after everything that has happened over the course of the last 2 months leading up to this match. I had to have people come to me and tell me, these fucking idiots with wrestlers as their avies with 25 followers telling me, oh, this was the right decision. Oh, Shayna Baszler's boring. Shayna Baszler could very well win the title. Again, this is the same ending that happened with Ember Moon back at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, and the same ending that happened with Kairi Sane at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Why didn't Shayna Baszler win? Is it because that Shayna Baszler is not a prim and proper Barbie doll in Vince's Barbie world? Is it because that Vince McMahon doesn't see a fantastic life in plastic for Shayna Baszler? Is it because he can't brush her hair and undress her everywhere like he can Alexa Bliss? And to those of you trying to tell me, oh, this is the same ending that happened back at TakeOver Philadelphia and TakeOver Brooklyn 4 with Kairi Sane and Ember Moon and Shayna Baszler. If you're trying to use that, how dumb are you? You can't compare that Shayna Baszler to this Shayna Baszler. Two different Shayna Baszlers. The Shayna Baszler leading up to the match with Ember Moon at TakeOver Philadelphia had one match prior to getting that title opportunity, and Ember Moon came out and challenged her because she was being a bully, and Ember Moon wanted to stand up for the women's division. Ember Moon, that was pretty much the entire story. Ember Moon was the champion, and she was standing up for the women's division at that time. Shayna Baszler was not ready at that time. Shayna Baszler still needed time to grow and develop in the ring and develop her character. And on top of that, you take a look at Shayna Baszler now. Her character's already established. Shayna Baszler back then was not established, so you weren't going to give her the title back at TakeOver Philadelphia. You were going to wait a little bit longer. Shayna Baszler now, you take a look at Shayna Baszler now. Shayna Baszler is the most established female star and the most legitimate female star that they have employed in the entire women's division. This woman's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, held the title for damn near 600 days combined across both championship title reigns. She's run through everyone. And on top of that, back then, Ember Moon only held the championship for 2 months. You're not going to take the title off of Ember Moon after 2 months. Ember Moon spent the better part of 2017 fighting Asuka, trying to break Asuka's streak and end Asuka's championship reign. She couldn't do it. She got the championship finally. Are you really going to take it off of her after 2 months after the journey that Ember Moon just went on? No, you're going to give her a legitimate run with the championship. And she did get a legitimate run with the championship. Becky Lynch has held the championship for a solid fucking year. Realistically speaking, she should have lost the title to Sasha Banks back at Hell in a Cell, which I still don't know. I still don't know why they didn't give Sasha the championship. Well, actually, I do know why they didn't give Sasha the championship, because they're petty. But then again, regardless of that, that opened the door for Shayna Baszler. The The storyline leading up to the match with Ember Moon was built over the course of 3 weeks. You're not going to give Shayna Baszler the championship when you've only built up the storyline for 3 weeks, and on top of that, her character wasn't ready, and Ember Moon's championship reign was just beginning. You take a look at Becky Lynch's championship reign, and the story that they told with Shayna Baszler. Becky Lynch sold the title for a solid year, and this storyline with Shayna Baszler has been told for 2 months. Realistically speaking, it's been told for the last almost 6 months, when they had their first meeting back at Survivor Series of 2019, and Shayna Baszler was put through the announce table by Becky Lynch. Which I still don't know why they haven't brought that up in this feud, but regardless, the storyline is much deeper than the one with Ember Moon. And on top of that, you take a look at what they did with Shayna Baszler. How are you going to have Shayna Baszler come up to the main roster, and how are you going to have her eliminate 8 women in 2 minutes at the Royal Rumble? You have her bite Becky Lynch in the back of the neck with blood dripping from her face. She goes into the Elimination Chamber and eliminates the entire field on her own. The most dominant performance in Elimination Chamber history. And she loses to Becky Lynch off a fucking roll-up in 8.5 minutes. And on top of that, Becky Lynch's character right now is at the lowest point that you could possibly get. Ever since the Hell in a Cell match with Sasha Banks, I said it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, but it doesn't hold more true than it does right now. Ever since the Hell in a Cell match with Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch has been on a decline, and she has not had any memorable moments in 2020 outside of her 2 matches with Asuka. This year has sucked for Becky Lynch, and it shows. Her character right now is one of the worst characters that you could possibly get in the WWE on the main roster right now. Her character is equivalent to a deflated beach ball. Useless. Becky Lynch is useless right now. After everything that they built up Shayna Baszler to be, and you have her losing 8.5 minutes off a fucking roll-up, her mystique and her specialness and the legitimacy that you built up Shayna Baszler to be is gone. Why did you even call up Shayna Baszler to the main roster to begin with if you were going to build her up like a fucking monster only to have her lose in 8.5 fucking minutes? Are you fucking kidding me? There's two scenarios. There's 2 scenarios that they could possibly go. And a lot of people have been throwing it around that Ronda Rousey's coming back, and we're going to get Ronda and Becky at SummerSlam, in which case Vince McMahon is out of his fucking mind. Vince McMahon's out of his fucking mind. Now, the scenario that some idiots on Twitter were pitching to me and how Shayna Baszler was going to get the title sometime after WrestleMania, and let's just say hypothetically speaking, that she does get the championship after WrestleMania. If she does, is the impact going to be the same as it would have been at WrestleMania if she had beaten Becky Lynch after everything that she's done? Is the impact going to feel the same? Is it going to feel special? Is it going to feel unique? Is it going to feel like it's well-deserved? Is it going to feel as though it was the right time? No, it's going to feel too little, too late. And you know what it's bringing me back to? It's the same exact situation that you had with Seth Rollins and The Fiend back at Hell in a Cell. I know a lot of people want to forget about that, but that Hell in a Cell match, and we had a fucking referee stoppage inside Hell in a Cell. We had a referee stoppage inside Hell in a Cell, and then WWE proceeded to book a match at Crown Jewel, Falls Count Anywhere match, as an apology for what happened at Hell in a Cell to try and correct their mistake. They gave The Fiend the Universal Championship, but it didn't feel special. It didn't feel impactful. It was just a shrug of the shoulders moment. Yes, it was great, and The Fiend did deserve it at that time, but at the same point in time, they fucked up the first time. WWE's always looking for second chances. Why can't they just get it right the first time? So even if they do end up giving Shayna Baszler a rematch, do you trust that WWE's even going to give her the title on the second round? That's number one. Do you even trust that WWE is even going to give her the title on the second round? And even if they do give her the title on her second try, it's not going to feel the same, because her mystique is gone. Her mystique is gone. It's vaporized into thin air. Completely vaporized into thin air. This is one of the worst decisions across all of WrestleMania's card. Across both nights. This is probably this was the second worst decision. Shayna Baszler was not buried, but she is certainly ruined. Anyone who supports this decision and anyone who defends this decision, you do not have any fucking right to even utter a word about professional wrestling. If you're supporting me in this, God bless you. If you're not, you're the fucking problem. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. Another one. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental Championship. Another one. Best match of the night. It's going to be the best match across all 2 nights of WrestleMania. This is going to be one of the best matches of the night. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes this match went. And about 3 to 4 minutes, Sami Zayn was running away from Daniel Bryan. Sami Zayn, I've said it before, he's one of the luckiest motherfuckers on the face of the planet getting the Intercontinental Championship because Braun Strowman didn't want to work events due to the coronavirus. I love Sami Zayn, but this artist collective shit with him, Nakamura, and Cesaro, it is not doing anything for any of those individuals. And on top of that, this character that they have Sami Zayn portraying, while it may be entertaining, Sami Zayn's probably the most entertaining man on the main roster right now, but this character is doing nothing for Sami Zayn, and he's doing nothing for the Intercontinental Championship. If there is one character that is so fucking outdated, it's the chicken shit heel character. It just has no place in 2020 anymore. In hindsight, it should really be abolished from all major wrestling leagues. It's outdated and it does nothing. Matter of fact, you have no idea how much a character of a wrestler could bring the quality of a match down. Not only the quality of a match down, but you have no idea how the character of a wrestler could devalue a championship. This actually reminds me of The Miz in 2017. Remember The Miz in 2017? He was Intercontinental Champion, and every single time he had a match, he would always cheat to win. Roll up with the tights, feet on the ropes, Maurice, the Miz Taraj. Miz from 2016 versus Miz from 2017, 2 different Mizes. Yes, he was a great promo, but his chicken shit heel character devalued the Intercontinental Championship. And it wasn't until Seth Rollins had his first Intercontinental Championship reign that the prestige of the title was brought back. Sami Zayn, same shit here. Sami Zayn, on top of that, I'm not mad that Sami Zayn retained the Intercontinental Championship. I'm shocked. I really thought that Daniel Bryan was going to win the championship, especially considering that a lot of people thought Sami Zayn was going to be a transitional champion. I'm not mad that Sami Zayn retained the Intercontinental Championship, but the man did 2 fucking moves to Daniel Bryan. How do you think that makes Daniel Bryan look? If Daniel Bryan kicked his ass for the majority of the match, Sami Zayn did all but 2 moves. 2 moves and retained the title off of a haluva kick when Daniel Bryan was coming off the top rope. I have no problem with Sami Zayn retaining, but if you're going to book a legitimate reign for Sami Zayn as Intercontinental Champion, book him with some fucking legitimacy. And I don't even think you understand how frustrating it is for me at least, to watch Sami Zayn here and the character that he's portraying versus the Sami Zayn from 4 years ago that put on probably one of the best matches of the modern era with Shinsuke Nakamura at NXT TakeOver Dallas, and what that character that Sami Zayn portraying back then was and what he used to do back then versus him now. You realize how frustrating it is for me? It's pathetic. It's disgusting. Chicken shit heel characters need to be abolished from all major wrestling leagues. The chicken shit heel character really devalues the superstar, the championship, and it devalues the quality of the match. And it really showcased here. This match sucked. Sami Zayn kept running away from Bryan. Sami Zayn tried to talk Daniel Bryan out of beating the shit out of him. Like, oh, no, this wasn't supposed to happen. Daniel Bryan came back with a huge lariat, turning Sami Zayn inside out. Cesaro and Nakamura attacked Drew Gulak. Bryan took both men out with a suicide dive. Sami Zayn caught Daniel Bryan with a haluva kick as Bryan was coming off the top rope, and he retained the Intercontinental title. Didn't even go 10 minutes. Yeah, just think about this for a minute. The women's tag team title match at the start of the show got more time than both Becky and Baszler and Bryan and Zayn. 2 matches that were supposed to be the two of the marquee matches for night 1 didn't even go 10 minutes. Hell, Elias and Baron Corbin got more time than Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch. How fucking sad and pathetic is that? I don't know what's going to happen. More likely than not, this is going to continue. We'll see what happens. I have no problem with Sami Zayn retaining, but if you're going to have Sami Zayn retain, book him with some fucking legitimacy. If you are not going to book a champion with legitimacy, chicken shit heel characters should not be champions. Should not be champions. You have a champion, book him with legitimacy. Just one of the many matches, shafted and handcuffed. You have Sami Zayn as Intercontinental Champion, and you're not even giving him the opportunity to showcase to us what he can do as Intercontinental Champion, especially with someone like Daniel Bryan. Ridiculous. John Morrison versus Jimmy Uso versus Kofi Kingston. Triple threat ladder match for the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. This was actually an awesome ladder match. It took us 2+ hours to get something of substance on the show. And it came in the form of the ladder match with Morrison, Uso, and Kingston. The Miz was quarantined, and they just decided to make this a regular triple threat match. All three men, though, they brought it. All three men went in there and broke their fucking backs in this match. This was a great ladder match. This was brutal. All three men, they were brought on the top of the ladder, trying to get to the titles. Morrison took out Kofi. He draped Jimmy Uso over the ladder as the ladder was set up in the corner. Went up to the top and delivered Starship Pain onto Uso while he was draped over the ladder. That looked great. Kofi Kingston, he caught John Morrison with a huge Hurricane Rana off the ladder. Morrison actually looked like he landed right on his neck. That looked brutal there. Morrison, he walked the ropes like a tightrope. Literally, he walked the ropes from one corner to the other corner like a tightrope, which was fantastic in its own right. Morrison was actually on the receiving end of a lot of offense. Morrison took a fucking beating in this match, and he was still able to do that. Very impressive on his part. Then he delivered a Spanish fly to Kofi Kingston, and then Uso came off the top with a huge splash to John Morrison. Kofi Kingston and Morrison, they were brawling in the ring. Kofi came off of the ladder with a huge double stomp to Morrison. Morrison was draped over the ladder, and it looked like Jimmy Uso was going for a splash, but Morrison tipped the ladder over. Uso went to the outside. Uso eventually made his way back into the ring. He recovered from it. All three men were brawling on top, and they took the titles down. They took the little hook that the titles were on, and all three men were holding it. Jimmy and Kofi double headbutted John Morrison, and Morrison fell back on the ladder that was draped over the rope and the ladder that they were standing on with the championships, and Miz and Morrison retained the championships. Right outcome, creative ending, and all three men broke their backs as if this was actually in Raymond James Stadium. I got nothing bad to say about this match. Right winners, creative ending, and the match was great. First highlight of the entire WrestleMania weekend was that ladder match. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Rollins, he came out in all white with his hair in a bun, with his well-trimmed black beard, all white with a robe, with his arms stretched out as if he's actually Jesus Christ. So right then and there, I'm like, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Rollins coming out looking like Jesus Christ himself. Fantastic shit. So Owens was on the offense from the start of the bell. Rollins, he gained control with a back body drop on the apron to Owens, and then he delivered a Falcon Arrow on the apron to Owens. So Owens took 2 apron moves within the course of 30 seconds. Rollins with a suicide dive taking out Owens. A second suicide dive. Owens caught him with a right hand on the third. Owens slid back in the ring but got caught with a sling blade. Owens came back with a super kick, cannonball, and a swanton bomb combination for a 2 count. Rollins did a sunset flip and caught Owens with a buckle bomb, followed by 2 super kicks. He went for the stomp, but Owens caught him with a pop-up power bomb for a 2. Rollins hit Owens with the ring bell and got DQ'd. And right then and there, I'm thinking to myself, they're really doing a fucking DQ on WrestleMania in these types of circumstances. Like, I realize it's a shit company. I realize they make shitty decisions, but come on. Out of everything that they could have done, a DQ on this year's WrestleMania like that. Owens then took the microphone and said, no, 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 no. That's not how we're going to do this. Those weren't the actions of a god. Those were the actions of a little bitch. And then Owens said he wanted to finish this the right way in a no DQ match. Rollins then went on to attack Owens with the steel steps after the referee restarted the match as a no DQ match. Rollins then took the steel chair, started bashing Owens over the back with the steel chair. Owens was in pain. Owens then hit Rollins with the ring bell twice. Rollins was draped over the announce table. And then Owens, he went up to the WrestleMania sign. They put the WrestleMania sign behind the announce table. He climbed up the WrestleMania sign, looking down on Rollins, and he's like, how's this for a WrestleMania moment? The motherfucker dove off the WrestleMania sign, and he soared. He glided through the air, like as if he was a Canadian eagle, gliding through the air with an elbow drop to Seth Rollins through the announce table. I swear, it reminded me, he was in the air for so long, it reminded me of when Shawn Michaels jumped off the ladder at WrestleMania 10 against Razor Ramon. Like a Canadian eagle, gliding through the air with an elbow drop to Seth Rollins. Probably the best spot of the entire weekend. Rollins is holding his gut. Rollins is moaning and groaning in pain. Rollins gets thrown back into the ring, and Owens hits the stunner for the 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens defeats Seth Rollins. This was a great match. This was brilliantly produced. Very well booked as well. They started off with a really good wrestling match in the beginning, and to have Owens say, no, I want to finish this. You ain't getting disqualified. I'm getting my WrestleMania moment, and I'm kicking your ass. I'm putting you down once and for all. Having him do that, having him create a WrestleMania moment for himself, jumping off the WrestleMania sign, gliding, that was great. That was great. Right winner. Monday Night Messiah finally falls at the hands of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens finally puts down Rollins after so many months of feuding. And Kevin Owens now, I believe Kevin Owens in the summertime, I believe Kevin Owens is going to be the WWE Champion. If there's one person that is the correct man to take the title off of Drew McIntyre, possibly at SummerSlam, it's Kevin Owens. After everything that Owens has put forth. Kevin Owens is definitely someone that deserves another world title reign. Mojo Rawley and Rob Gronkowski, they were on the platform above the announce table, or where the NXT announce table was. They were on the platform of the Performance Center. And R-Truth came in, 24/7 champion came in. Rob Gronkowski tried to roll up R-Truth. Mojo Rawley stole the win. Mojo Rawley won the 24/7 championship. The day that the 24/7 championship retires is the day that I throw another block. I'm throwing 2 block parties. One for when Alexa Bliss retires, and one for when the 24/7 is retired. Braun Strowman versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship. Everyone's favorite, the moron among men, Braun Strowman. I mean, we expected it. We expected it to be bad. 2 minutes. 2-minute finisher fest. Strowman went for the power slam. Goldberg hit 3 spears. Strowman kicked out. Goldberg hit a 4th spear. He went for the jackhammer. Strowman with 3 power slams. An emphatic running power slam. And Strowman wins the Universal Championship. Samoa Joe, Matt Riddle, The Fiend Bray Wyatt. All suitable replacements for Roman Reigns. But no. WWE decides to go with Braun Strowman. And on top of that, they gift Braun Strowman a Universal Championship match in the same exact fashion that Roman Reigns got his Universal Championship match. Just announcing it out of thin air. Abracadabra, Braun Strowman gets a Universal Championship match. I pitched the idea of having Roman Reigns get written out in a backstage attack angle. You could have Samoa Joe. Could have had Samoa Joe do it. Fightful Select reported that Samoa Joe was eligible to work WrestleMania. Bill Goldberg could have done an open challenge. Samoa Joe could have came out, answered the open challenge, and choked out Goldberg. And he could have won the title that he should have won from Brock Lesnar back at Great Balls of Fire. Same thing with Matt Riddle. Or you could have had Bray Wyatt beat John Cena on night 1 in the Firefly Funhouse match, and then you could have had Bray Wyatt win back the championship from Goldberg on night 2, but they didn't do that. They just decided to go with Braun Strowman. And why did they give it to Braun Strowman? Why did they give it to Braun Strowman? Well, I guess that's what happens when you work for a man in Vince McMahon who wants to monopolize the wrestling industry. So Braun Strowman talks down to independent wrestlers, and I guarantee you, Vince McMahon is like, oh, you know, Braun, I'm sorry for shafting you at all of those Universal Championship opportunities. You did a good deed. You did a good deed. You're teaching these independent wrestlers not to be poor. You're teaching them that they gotta be rich, like me. So you know what I'm gonna do? You're gonna finally get your WrestleMania moment. You're going to get the Universal Championship. You're going to beat Bill Goldberg after telling him not to be poor. I'm going to monopolize the entire wrestling industry. I'm going to own all of these independent wrestlers sooner rather than later. And we're going to draw the best ratings that SmackDown has ever seen. Guarantee that's exactly what happened. Guarantee that's exactly what happened. It was a lose-lose situation. It was a lose-lose situation no matter who won the Universal Championship match. If Goldberg won, it would have been a lose-lose situation. It would have been a lose situation because Goldberg's still a part-timer, and we still would have had to sit through Goldberg and Roman Reigns once this pandemic would have been over. Braun Strowman wins. Guy's a joke. The guy's a complete joke. The guy's a fucking idiot. It doesn't surprise me that Braun Strowman is a universe. You know, I guarantee you right now. You know why Braun Strowman accepted this? He refused to work events during the pandemic. And that's why he dropped the Intercontinental Championship. The only reason why he's Universal Champion now is because he accepted this match because he knew that he wasn't going to get another opportunity. You want to talk about Sami Zayn being the luckiest motherfucker? Braun Strowman's the luckiest motherfucker on the face of this planet. Whoever justifies Braun Strowman, trying to tell me that he deserves it, how? How does he deserve it? After saying some of the dumbest shit that I think I've ever heard a pro wrestler say to independent wrestlers, and a lot of people in the locker room that he works in came from the independent scene. Doesn't surprise me whatsoever. The only possible positive that can come out of this is the fact that once everything is over and once WWE can record their shows again, whether they be in the PC in front of no one or whether they be in front of live crowds again, the only positive that could possibly come out of this is a Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt match. The match would be shit, but it makes sense since they have history in the Wyatt family, and Bray Wyatt can get the Universal Championship back that he should have never lost at Super Showdown. And Braun Strowman would be out of the world title picture. That's the only positive that could possibly come out of this match. And even then, I don't have any faith that WWE will do that. More likely than not, we're going to get Roman and Strowman. And Roman Reigns is going to win the Universal title from Braun Strowman whenever they can start recording events again. And even if they go with the Bray Wyatt route, even if Bray Wyatt gets the Universal title back, and even if he becomes a 2-time Universal Champion, I guarantee you right now that they're going to have Bray Wyatt hold the championship to SummerSlam to get Roman versus The Fiend at SummerSlam, and they're going to give you the match that we would have gotten at WrestleMania had it not been for Goldberg beating The Fiend at Super Showdown. Either way, Bray Wyatt is going to be shafted yet again. He's going to be buried for the 3rd time in his career if any of those routes decide to come to fruition. This match was terrible. It was a lose-lose situation no matter who won. And to be quite honest with you, I'm praying that Bray Wyatt gets the Universal Championship back. But even if he does, I have no faith that WWE would do the right thing and have Bray Wyatt drop it to someone like Daniel Bryan, who actually makes sense. And he would be the only one that would actually benefit from a win against a character like Bray Wyatt. I don't know what else I can say about this. If you are telling me that this had any redeeming qualities whatsoever outside of Bray Wyatt potentially getting back the Universal Championship, you need mental help. You need to check yourself into the nearest mental asylum. You need mental help immediately, and you are dangerously fucking stupid. AJ Styles versus The Undertaker in a Boneyard match. This was perhaps the best thing on all of WrestleMania's card. And this wasn't even a technical match. But they did an excellent job producing this match. And for those of you shitting on this match, what did you really expect? Did you really expect a Matt Classic with Undertaker and Styles in the ring in front of nobody? This match was exactly what it needed to be. And they did everything right for this Boneyard match. We cut to a cemetery. A hearse drove up to the gates. A couple of druids open the back, take out a casket, and Styles, AJ Styles, was in the casket, riding in style. Styles says, "Where are you, Undertaker?" He's like, oh, I hear him. Undertaker came riding in on a motorcycle to a Metallica song, dressed in the leather pants, sweet vest, with his hair in a ponytail and a bandana. The American Badass is back. American Badass, probably one of the most underrated characters of all time. I fucking love the American Badass. Especially the one thing that sticks out in my mind the most about the American Badass is the first match with Triple H. That match does not get enough praise. That match is often overshadowed. That match at WrestleMania 17 between Undertaker and Triple H was great. Undertaker started walking up to AJ, and AJ's like, "Does Michelle McCool know you're out this late?" Yeah, he took the liberty of digging your grave for you. Undertaker's like, "You dug your own grave, son." So Undertaker starts punching AJ Styles. He starts slamming AJ Styles onto the casket, saying, "Yeah, you gotta do more than that, right? You gotta have more than that, right, son? You gotta have more than that, huh?" So he went for a back elbow on AJ Styles. He ended up smashing the car windshield. He's like, "Son of a bitch, you got me cut, Alan." So then he tossed Styles onto the windshield of the car. They started fighting on top of the hearse. Styles took over control, started punching the Undertaker towards the grave. Undertaker knocked Styles into the grave, and the OC then appeared. They pointed to a cabin, like a huge little shack or cabin, and they knocked down the walls, and all of these druids ended up coming out. They surrounded the Undertaker, and Undertaker's like, "Okay, if we're gonna do this, let's fucking do this." So the Undertaker takes out the druids. OC, they get involved. They start taking out the Undertaker, but the Undertaker takes a shovel. He's like, "You want to use a shovel? Oh no, this is how you use a shovel." And he starts whacking the shit out of the OC. And the Undertaker's trash talking fucking made everything. The Undertaker's trash talking throughout all this, I was laughing my ass off. So then the Undertaker was then smashed with a tombstone by AJ Styles over the back of his head. Styles actually was punching the Undertaker, and Styles like, maybe break my finger. So Styles broke his finger, quote unquote, from punching the Undertaker. Styles then speared the Undertaker through the cabin. Undertaker flipped Styles off. He's like, "Come on." He's trying to say "come on," but he can't be. He's like all out of breath. He's like, come on. Can't say it. Styles then took the shovel and smashed the Undertaker into the grave after calling him a broken down old bitch. Undertaker fell into the grave. Styles went to start up the tractor and poured the dirt on the Undertaker. Undertaker then appeared behind AJ Styles, Deadman-esque, and started brawling with Styles. They climbed up the ladder, so they're brawling on top of the shack. They're brawling on top of the cabin. Undertaker threw Luke Gallows off of the cabin roof, tombstone Carl Anderson, and then choke slammed AJ Styles off the roof onto some wooden pallets. Styles crashed and burned, and he took Styles. He's like, "You remember my wife's name? You remember my age? Oh, no, we're not done. Come on, buddy." He's grabbing Styles by the arm. He's putting Styles over. I was like, "Come on, buddy. Yeah, we're just getting started." I was laughing my ass off the entire time. Undertaker's trash talking made everything. I loved it. So he's holding AJ Styles by the throat. He's like, no. Go out like a man. Go out like a man. And Styles is like, no, don't bury me. He's like, he's trying to apologize. Undertaker's, oh, you're sorry now. He's like, don't bury me, don't bury me. Undertaker's like, I'm not going to bury you, man. So he's hugging AJ Styles. He's like, you put up a hell of a fight. You put up a hell of a fight, you know? And no one's put up a hell of a fight like that for me in a long, long time. Man, I'm not going to bury you. So he's hugging him. He's going to walk away, turns around, boots AJ Styles into the grave, went over to the tractor, dumped the dirt on Styles, exposed the grave, AJ Styles 1977 to 2020, and then all you see is Styles' hand with his glove, his hand in a glove sticking out of the dirt. And that became the meme of Twitter for the night. And Undertaker then walked back to his motorcycle, put his bandana on, did his signature arm raise, and you saw his Undertaker logo appear across the cabin, and he drove off into the night. Undertaker wins the Boneyard match. This was beautifully produced. Both Styles, Undertaker, the OC, everyone involved in this deserves an astounding round of applause. Everyone involved in this was great. I don't think I've ever seen something as beautifully produced in a long, long time as this. This was great. This was very, very, very well done. And I understand a lot of people wanted Styles to win. I actually picked Styles to win myself. I understand, but after everything that went forth into that, I mean, how can you complain? How can you complain? This alone, night one alone was worth watching for this Boneyard match. Everything about the Boneyard match was great. The setting was great. The camera angles were great. The fighting was great. The spots were great. Tombstone and Carl Anderson on top of the cabin, the choke slam through the pallets. Styles saying, go out like a man, go out like a man, go out like a man. And then Styles with his hand sticking out the dirt. That was the LOL moment of the night right there. LOL moment of the night. But overall, night one, outside of the Boneyard match, KO and Rollins, and the ladder match, night one was terrible. Night one was a complete waste of time outside of those three matches. Night one was actually made because of those three matches. If it wasn't for those three matches, night one would have been complete dog shit. Well, it was dog shit. It was dog shit, but it was less dog shit because of those three matches. So then after that, show went off the air, and then they went into night two on WrestleMania with the same exact opening promo that we got to start off the show. And that was pretty much it. It was just a stereotypical transition into night two. And I can't really say too much about that. Night two started off with Natalya versus Liv Morgan. I don't really know what you want me to say about this. This was boring. It was stereotypical. Wasn't special whatsoever. And didn't need to be on WrestleMania at all. Back and forth technical wrestling to start off the show. Natalya took over control with a snap suplex and a surfboard stretch on Liv Morgan. We had the double knees to the face by Liv Morgan for 2. We had a wheelbarrow facebuster by Liv Morgan, or on Liv Morgan actually, for 2. And Liv Morgan and Natalya traded roll-ups. Morgan ended up rolling up Natalya, crossing the legs for the 1, 2, 3. And that was it. I didn't really care about this match, and nor should anyone really. Good for Liv Morgan, but at the end of the day, who cares? But I just need to make this known. Liv Morgan versus Natalya got more time than Drew Gulak and Cesaro did on night 1. Liv Morgan and Natalya. They got more time on the pre-show on night 2 than Cesaro and Drew Gulak did on night 1. Let that sink in. And Liv Morgan and Natalya, they're not bad. They're just completely worthless at this stage in their careers. They got more time than Drew Gulak and Cesaro. Cesaro, a guy who should realistically be world champion, should have been world champion 5 years ago. Drew Gulak, one of the best technical wrestlers on the face of this planet, and Natalya and Liv Morgan, they get more time than Drew Gulak and Cesaro. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Main show. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. This was actually a very, very, very good match. But this is perhaps the best match of night 2, hands down. This is perhaps the best match of night 2, hands down. Both women, I will say this, and I would even go so far as to say that this was probably Charlotte Flair's best match since Trish Stratus at SummerSlam. And that's saying something, and that is a testament to how good Rhea Ripley really is. Rhea Ripley came into this, she looked like a complete badass with her WrestleMania gear, the blue and white. I think she had some contacts in as well. Either way, she looked like a complete badass. So, Rhea Ripley, within 2 minutes of this match, Charlotte Flair went for a Shawn Michaels-like turnbuckle scale, and Rhea Ripley caught her with a big boot while she was in mid-motion trying to go over the turnbuckle. Mid-motion, upside down, Rhea Ripley caught her with a boot. Looked brutal. And then she hit the riptide. And I actually thought, a lot of people thought actually, I was talking to a lot of people actually thought that was it. A lot of people thought that Rhea Ripley was going to get the quick win, but Charlotte Flair kicked out. I was shocked that wasn't it. They really brought it in this. This match was hard hitting. This was stiff. The offensive strikes that these two women were hitting on one another, it was brutal. The chops that Charlotte Flair was doing, the punches that Rhea Ripley was doing, they beat the shit out of each other in this match. Rhea Ripley hit a cannonball off the apron to Charlotte. Charlotte then went and targeted the left leg of Rhea Ripley. Every time Rhea Ripley got on the offense, Charlotte Flair would go back to the leg. Rhea Ripley screaming in pain, screaming as if her leg's broken, slapping the mat. Great sell job from Rhea Ripley. She was selling her ass off in this match. We had punches, chops, and knees exchanged between the two. A couple of short clotheslines by Rhea Ripley to Charlotte. Rhea Ripley with a forward electric chair drop to Charlotte Flair for a 2. Rhea Ripley coming off the top with a beautiful missile dropkick for a 2. Charlotte got caught in the reverse cloverleaf. Charlotte was able to reverse it into a Boston Crab. Charlotte then went for the moonsault. Rhea Ripley got her feet up. Rhea Ripley went to attack Charlotte, but Charlotte Flair speared Rhea Ripley for a 2. Charlotte ended up locking in the figure 8, and Charlotte Flair defeats Rhea. Rhea Ripley taps out. Charlotte Flair is the new NXT Women's Champion. I am not discrediting the match whatsoever. Both Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley brought it. Rhea Ripley definitely looked great. Rhea Ripley brought Charlotte Flair, again, to her best match ever since the SummerSlam match with Trish Stratus. That's a testament to how good Rhea Ripley is. It's a testament to how much value Rhea Ripley has, but at the end of it all, the wrong woman won. And it doesn't matter what anyone says, no one can justify Charlotte Flair winning the NXT Women's Championship. All this proved to you is that Vince McMahon is now creatively involved in NXT, and he put the title on Charlotte Flair because he thinks that Charlotte Flair is going to draw ratings for NXT, so that way they can beat out All Elite Wrestling. Meanwhile, Charlotte Flair was on NXT numerous times leading up to this, and the ratings actually went down when Charlotte Flair was on NXT. So Charlotte Flair, she ain't no fucking draw. Charlotte Flair ain't putting asses in seats. She ain't bringing in sponsorships. She ain't drawing ratings. She ain't drawing people in. She's drawing people away. Charlotte Flair's drawing people away. All Charlotte Flair is a recognizable name because of the Flair name. Just because you're a recognizable name doesn't mean you're a draw. Charlotte Flair is not going to do anything for NXT as the women's champion. And, I can't help but feel bad for Rhea Ripley. I mean, she did great. She brought Charlotte Flair to a great match. She brought Charlotte Flair to a hard-hitting match, an intense match. She looked great, and she looked legit as ever. But the fact that she didn't win, everything that they built up Rhea Ripley to be with the Survivor Series match, winning the first ever War Games, defeating Shayna, successful title defense against Toni Storm and Bianca Belair, and she loses. And she loses here to Charlotte Flair. I don't even think you realize how much Rhea Ripley has accomplished in so little time, and all of this was all organic. She was built up. She was built up with an organic feel, with an organic meteoric rise. And if she were to beat Charlotte, do you realize what it would have done for the potential number one contender? The number one contender for the women's championship in NXT is going to be determined on Wednesday in that ladder match. And I'm still going with Io Shirai. But do you realize what it would have done if Rhea Ripley had beaten Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley would have gone on to drop the title to someone like Tegan Nox or Dakota Kai or Io Shirai or Candice LeRae? And do you realize, after everything that Rhea Ripley did, after everything that she accomplished ever since November, do you realize what that would have done for the woman that Rhea Ripley would have been laying down for? That specialness, that uniqueness, that legitimacy would have transferred to that woman, and you would have made a new star. It would have elevated someone like an Io Shirai or Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, whoever. But now, that's gone. That mystique is gone. That legitimacy is gone. Rhea Ripley's not ruined. Rhea Ripley's not buried. She's still the future of the company. Don't get me wrong. She's got 2 decades left in the business. But at the end of the day, that mystique, that legitimacy, that specialness that Rhea Ripley had, it's gone up in smoke. It's gone up in smoke because Charlotte Flair tapped out Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair ain't going to do anything for NXT. Charlotte Flair, and to be quite honest with you, I would be surprised right now if Charlotte Flair doesn't hold the championship going into next year's WrestleMania so they can get another NXT Women's Championship match on the show. Now, the number one contender, whoever wins the ladder match, they're not losing to Charlotte Flair. You really think that Vince McMahon is going to have Charlotte Flair drop the title to whoever wins the ladder match whenever they get to record again? If they do, if whoever wins the ladder match beats Charlotte Flair, I would be shocked. And you know something? That really is a spit in the face to Rhea Ripley. That's a spit in the face to Rhea Ripley because she couldn't be the one to drop the title to whoever was winning the ladder match. That's a spit in the face to Rhea Ripley, that it had to end like this for her. Charlotte Flair is not going to move the needle whatsoever for NXT. And if you think she is, you're the biggest moron. You're the biggest dumb fuck on the face of the earth. I'm talking to you, Ken Tahoe. Right? Kenneth Tahoe? I love you, dude. I like you. I really do. I like you a lot more than I like the majority of people in this community. And that's saying something, because I hate everyone. I hate everyone except for a select handful of people. But I like you, dude. But yeah, I'm trying to grow a mustache. I'm trying to grow a mustache right now. It's not coming in thick at all. It doesn't work for me. I'm trying to grow a mustache during this quarantine. It's not really doing anything for me. But dude, I got more hair above my lip than you got brain cells in your head if you're telling me that Charlotte Flair is a bigger draw than Rhea Ripley. Look at the statistics. Ratings went down when Charlotte Flair was on NXT. Charlotte Flair is not going to do anything. Rhea Ripley would have benefited much more from a win, and she would have benefited much more from dropping the title to whoever wins the ladder match, as opposed to Charlotte Flair. You're not a bad guy. You're not a bad guy, Ken. You're a great guy. You're just a dumb wrestling fan. I'm sorry. Moving on here. And yes, I got a second water bottle. WrestleMania was too big for one night. The Rewind's too big for just one water bottle. I know, it was terrible. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. This went about 7.5 minutes. It wasn't bad. It wasn't necessarily bad. It was physical. We had some physical strikes. We had some physical spots in this match. But ultimately, this is just another match that didn't need to be on WrestleMania. And it was just a match that was simply put on WrestleMania for the sake of putting it on WrestleMania. And again, I will state, Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley, they're on a match at WrestleMania, or a piss-poor excuse for WrestleMania, yet they haven't had one face-to-face confrontation, whether it be in a segment or a match, ever since Aleister Black came up to the main roster. What sense does that make? So Black tried a moonsault to the outside. Bobby Lashley caught him with a belly-to-belly suplex on the floor, and this is actually the most brutal spot of the match. Lashley, he fucking threw Aleister Black. He threw him. He fucking threw him up in the air, and you saw Aleister Black go up and down as if he was on a free-fall drop. Lashley fucking threw him, and the thud was brutal. So Lashley caught Black with a power slam for a 2 after Black came off the top rope. Black hit a Shining Wizard and then a moonsault to the outside. Lashley was in control, and he was going for the Dominator. Lana went up on the apron, and she's like, no, spear him. And so Lashley's like, okay. He put Aleister Black down. Lashley went for the spear, and Aleister Black hit the Black Mass for the win. Aleister Black wins. Good. Can we please give Aleister Black a title match now? How many more wins does he need? How many more people does he have to beat in order for him to get a title match? This guy has been doing nothing but winning and winning and winning and winning and winning ever since he came up to the main roster. The guy's only been pinned once, and yet he's still floating around in mid-card purgatory doing nothing. If there's one man that deserves to take the title off of Andrade, because Drew McIntyre, he's the WWE champion. Black deserves a WWE Championship opportunity, let alone a U.S. title opportunity, but Drew McIntyre is not losing the title anytime soon. Give Aleister Black the United States Championship. Have him beat Andrade whenever Andrade is back from a rib injury. Just have Aleister Black beat Andrade and let that be done with it. Just be done. Just be fucking done with it already. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous! How many more people does Aleister Black have to go through in order for him to get what he deserves? Wasn't necessarily a bad match, but it was pretty much a waste of a 7-minute match that didn't need to be on WrestleMania. Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. This is another one. This one 8 minutes. This is another one. The best part about this match was the ending. Ziggler with the drop kick taking out Otis. Otis started doing his own version of hulking up. Every single time he got kicked, he was, shrugging his shoulders and rubbing his belly. A couple of clotheslines from Otis. Otis tossed Ziggler into the barricade, into the post, hit a pop-up power slam. Sonya distracted the ref. Dolph hit a low blow on Otis. Before Mandy came out, she attacked Sonya Deville. Referee was distracted. And then Mandy Rose came in, low-blowed Dolph Ziggler. She low-blowed Dolph Ziggler. Otis hit the Caterpillar on Dolph for the win. And then Otis grabbed Mandy Rose up in his arms and shared a WrestleMania kiss with Mandy Rose. And I agree with everyone. I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed. I see the feedback. Trust me, I am in the same boat as you. I wish there was a crowd for it. And it was a pretty much a mistake to have this match at WrestleMania if there was going to be no crowd involved. I mean, I'm happy for Otis. Really happy for Otis. I mean, how can you not be happy? How can you not be happy for Otis? I mean, come on, it's Mandy Rose right there. I mean, there's a lot more women more attractive than Mandy Rose, but I mean, come on, Otis getting Mandy Rose there. I mean, you can't get any better than that. The best part about all of this wasn't even the match itself. The best part about all of this was the ending when Otis was walking up the ramp with Mandy Rose in his arms, and you heard him saying, "So pretty, so pretty." That was the best part of this entire match/segment. Outside of that, it really wasn't anything special, the match with Otis and Dolph Ziggler. It didn't really need to happen, and it really would have benefited from a crowd. And this is one of the many reasons why I said that they should have postponed the event. And I don't give me the bullshit. Don't give me the bullshit. Oh, we're living in uncertain times. We're always living in uncertain times. We didn't know what was going to happen last year for WrestleMania. For all we know, something like this could have happened 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago for WrestleMania. We're always living in uncertain times. Doesn't matter if we're living in uncertain times or not. Also, this shit is not lasting past the summer. Please, be realistic right here. WWE has people that specialize in postponing and canceling and rescheduling events. They could have easily rescheduled it to June, and if shit wasn't better by June, they could have rescheduled it to August. I don't want to hear this bullshit. Please cut the bullshit. Postponement would have been the best idea. No, I'm not going to be grateful that we just got a WrestleMania show. If it was good, then I would have praised it. Not all of it was bad, but the majority of it was not good. This really would have benefited from a crowd a lot more. And I really wish for Otis, man, for Otis, for that WrestleMania kiss with Otis and Mandy. You got to be happy for Otis. I'm happy for Otis, but man, really could have used the crowd. Heavy Machinery are your new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. Whenever they can record events again, I don't care what you got to do. Give the titles to Heavy Machinery. Take them off of Miz and Morrison. Tucker and Otis win the tag team titles. Otis uses this momentum. Wins the tag team titles with his partner Tucker, and Heavy Machinery finally get what they deserve. Edge versus Randy Orton, last man standing match. This went almost 40 minutes. The build towards this match was excellent. Probably the best built WrestleMania match in the last 5 years. And Edge and Orton killed their roles beautifully. They exceeded with flying colors at their roles in this storyline. But, honest to God, it feels as like WWE handcuffed this match. Feels as like WWE handcuffed this match, and they didn't even allow them to put forth 100% effort. You take a look at what Gargano and Ciampa did at the PC, and Gargano and Ciampa, they utilized every single possible weapon that they could possibly have. They went to the medical facility. They were hitting each other with kendo sticks and crutches. They were tossing dumbbells at mirrors. Gargano threw Ciampa through a performance center glass door. We had Ciampa using steel chairs. We had Ciampa doing an air raid crash off the platform through the announce table to Johnny Gargano. Edge and Orton didn't even utilize the environment to the fullest. And it seems as though everywhere they went, all they were doing was smashing each other into the walls. Oh, they're in the weightlifting area. They smashed each other into the walls. Oh, they're in the production area. They smashed each other into the walls. Oh, they're in the hallway. They smashed each other into the walls. Oh, they're in the conference room. They smashed each other into the walls. Oh, they're in the garage area. They're smashing each other into the production crates. No weapons actually came into this until the end, when Randy Orton brought in the chairs and they were brawling on top of the production trucks. Outside of the elbow drop off of the platform through the table to Orton and the spots on top of the production trucks, this was lackluster. This was lackluster, boring, and it went way, way too long. This match went almost 40 minutes. You telling me you really couldn't have cut this match in half? You couldn't have given some time to Bryan and Zayn? You couldn't have given some time to the Raw Tag Team title match? You couldn't have given some time to Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch? You really tell me you couldn't have cut 20 minutes from this match, and you really couldn't have split it equally among the matches with the younger talent that could have actually benefited from it? You really couldn't have done that, and you really couldn't have actually let them go? You really couldn't have let them go and actually destroyed the PC? I mean, it's like Vince McMahon. It's like Vince McMahon pulled Triple H aside and he ranted at Triple H for destroying the PC with Gargano and Ciampa. He's like, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to do that with Edge and Orton. You got to keep it PG. This was Vince McMahon trying to water down a last man standing match with Orton and Edge. I love what they can do, and I'm happy for Edge, but this was not a good last man standing match. This wasn't. And if you think it was, I'm sorry, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. This wasn't good. This was lackluster. This was boring. It went 40 minutes and it dragged. It dragged like fucking molasses. And there were too many awkward silence moments with Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips. They weren't even speaking. It's like they were just watching it as fans. They didn't even sound like they were excited for it. So Edge came out and he's waiting for Randy Orton. Randy Orton, ingenious by Randy Orton, by the way. Orton disguised himself as a cameraman and then came out of nowhere with an RKO to Edge before the match even started. Ingenious. Gotta love Randy Orton there. Second RKO to Edge. They started brawling through the Performance Center. They brawled into the weightlifting area. Orton grabbed the weight plate. Edge then used the weightlifting equipment to mule kick the weight plate onto Orton, and Orton fell back into the equipment. They started brawling into the production area, smashing each other into steel garage doors, into barricades. They made their way into the locker room area. They went into the main office area, and there was a cage fence above the steel table in the conference room, and Edge climbed it as if he was Spider-Man, and then just dropped down with an elbow drop to Orton while he was on the steel desk. So then they started brawling into the garage area. Orton was draped over a table. Edge climbed a ladder that was propped up against a scaffold-like platform, and Edge did a huge elbow drop off the platform through Orton, through the table. Both men got up. Orton then DDT'd Edge on the back of a pickup truck. Both men then climbed the production truck, the production truck for NXT. Edge then speared Orton on the top of the truck. Orton got up. Edge went for a second spear, and Orton RKO'd Edge. Edge still got up. Orton then got some steel chairs. He was going to deliver a concerto, but Edge then hooked Orton in a chokehold, and Edge choked out Orton, hit the concerto on top of the trucks for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And Edge. Edge wins the last man standing match. Very lackluster, very boring, and I'm sorry, it just wasn't good. It really was not good. I was all for it, but it seems as though it took forever to actually get something exciting. It took us 30 minutes to get an exciting spot, which was the elbow drop off of the platform through the table. This really should have gone only 20 minutes as opposed to 40 minutes. And it really should have been Gargano Ciampa-like. They should have utilized a lot more weapons. They should have utilized kendo sticks and chairs. Should have utilized crutches. We should have seen glass breaking. We should have seen a lot more. We could have seen them brawling outside the PC, but we didn't even see that. All we saw was for the first 33 to 34 minutes of this match, all we saw was Edge and Orton tossing each other into walls. That's what you call a last man standing match? This was horribly produced. You know, the Boneyard match was beautifully produced. This was horribly produced. I'm sorry. That's just straight facts. Just straight facts whether you like it or not. Mojo Rawley. He was being chased by superstars because he's the 24/7 champion, and we need to have that bullshit. Gronk then jumped off the WrestleMania platform, and he pinned his best friend, Mojo Rawley, to win the 24/7 championship. Great. Rob Gronkowski is the 24/7 champion. Great. Can he retire that? Can Rob Gronkowski retire as a WWE superstar as well as an NFL player so that way the 24/7 can retire, the 24/7 championship can retire too? Please. I beg of you. Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Austin Theory. This only went about 6.5 minutes. It wasn't bad. It was like Aleister Black and Lashley. It wasn't bad, but again, this is just another WrestleMania match that could have been great. It could have been great, but it was shafted. Think about this for a minute. The women's tag team title match got more time than the Street Profits, Angel Garza, and Austin Theory. With what those four men can do in the ring versus what the Kabuki Warriors, Nikki Cross, and Alexa Bliss can do in the ring. The Kabuki Warriors are great wrestlers, but if you're working with two individuals like Cross and Bliss who have shit characters, and Alexa Bliss is undoubtedly one of the worst wrestlers employed by the company, you know, you're not going to get a match that's going to outshine the Street Profits, Angel Garza, and Austin Theory. No matter how good, no matter how good you are, no matter what time you got, it's ridiculous. Again, you really couldn't have cut 20 minutes off of the last man standing match. You really couldn't have given another 10 minutes to these two teams. So Garza hit Dawkins with a super kick on the outside. Dawkins was isolated by Garza. Ford got the hot tag. Standing moonsault to Garza for a 2. Garza took over control with a moonsault to the outside, taking out both of the Profits. Moonsault onto Ford for a 2. Austin Theory then hit the TKO on Dawkins. Montez Ford was coming off the top rope. He did a springboard frog splash. Angelo Dawkins then covered Austin Theory for the 1, 2, 3. Street Profits retain. Theory, Garza, and Vega then started attacking Ford, and out of nowhere, Bianca Belair comes and attacks Zelina Vega, hits the KOD on Vega, and she stands tall with her husband and her friend, Angelo Dawkins. Bianca Belair appearing at WrestleMania was definitely a surprise, and good for Bianca Belair. She is going up to the main roster at some point, but if there's one place that she should not go, it's Raw. Raw already has Shayna Baszler, and you saw what happened there. SmackDown's no better, but if there's one place that really needs star power, it's SmackDown. I'm telling you right now, you take a look at SmackDown. The SmackDown women's division is perhaps the worst it has ever been. Outside of Sasha, Bayley, and Naomi, nobody on that roster is a legitimate women's wrestler. I would think that they could really benefit from a legitimate women's wrestler like Bianca Belair. And if Rhea Ripley is going to go up to the main roster, since Charlotte Flair's the NXT Women's Champion now, I would put Rhea Ripley on SmackDown as well. Bring some legitimacy to the SmackDown Live Women's division. You have no one outside of the 3 women that I just named. All the other women are jack shit. Alexa Bliss, jack shit. She's a joke, and so is her fan base. Lacey Evans, same shit. She's a joke, and so is her fan base. Dana Brooke, I can't remember if Dana Brooke was even trained to properly wrestle. Every single time I see Dana Brooke in the ring, I ask myself the same question. Was this woman really trained to be a professional wrestler? Tamina can barely fucking move. Tamina's in the same category as Nia. Supposedly Nia Jax is supposedly rumored to come back. God help us. God fucking help us. Speaking of the SmackDown Live Women's Division, the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match, the SmackDown Women's Championship Fatal 5-Way Elimination match took place next. It was Bayley versus Sasha versus Lacey versus Tamina versus Naomi. I did not expect anything from this match, but by the end of it, I was pleasantly surprised. I will say that this match was a lot better than I actually expected. The wrestling was actually fairly decent, I will say. Tamina took down all the competitors to start off this match. Naomi and Lacey, they were working together to take out Banks and Bayley. Banks, Bayley, Naomi, and Lacey, they all worked together to eliminate Tamina. We had an elbow drop from Bayley, frog splash by Sasha, moonsault by Lacey, and a springboard moonsault by Naomi on Tamina. All one after the other after the other. That was actually a cool looking spot, and they all eliminate Tamina. Goodbye, Tamina. Goodbye, Tamina. You can go attempt to wrestle somewhere else. You can go attempt to wrestle in your hotel room with whoever you are bunking with for the next show. We had Naomi taking out both Sasha and Bayley. Bayley, though, hit a running knee to the back of Naomi as Naomi had Sasha Banks in her submission hold. Sasha Banks then hit the bank statement, and Naomi tapped out. Bayley and Sasha, they were working on Lacey. Bayley accidentally kneed Sasha in the face. Lacey moved out of the way, and Sasha was out momentarily. Lacey Evans was then isolated by Bayley. Sasha Banks and Bayley started arguing, and Sasha Banks and Bayley, they were saying, no, we'll talk about this later. Sasha Banks is like, after everything we've been through, and Bayley's like, no, it was an accident. Look, we'll talk about this later. Let's just take care of business. Lacey went for a strike on Sasha. Sasha ducked. Bayley tried to reverse Lacey's strike. Lacey took out Bayley, then hit the women's right on Sasha Banks, and she eliminates Sasha Banks. Now, at that moment right there, I absolutely lost my shit. And I started tweeting out, this is absolutely terrible. Sasha Banks is officially the biggest idiot on the face of the planet for signing a new deal with this company. I was tweeting in that moment, I have no respect for her whatsoever, and I don't feel sorry for her at all. And no one should feel sorry for her. How this woman signed a new deal with the company, and how this woman is okay. How this woman is okay with the shit treatment that she has been put through over the last God knows how many years now. And the fact that she was actually interviewed and she said she couldn't see herself working for Brandy Rhodes in All Elite Wrestling, really. But you could see yourself working for Vince McMahon, who has proceeded to book you as a choke artist every single time you hold a championship, shafted you at every single possible second, and now you are 0-5. You are 0-5 at WrestleMania. How about that? Can't see yourself working for Brandy Rhodes, right? But you're 0-5 at WrestleMania, you're making all this money. You're making all this money, you got blue hair, you got the hottest new rap album coming out with your cousin Snoop Dogg. At that moment, I was like, I swear to God, if they give Lacey Evans the championship, I was about ready to smash my television over my head. And I was watching it with my dad, and he looked over at me, and he could visibly see that I was about to start breaking shit. In that moment, I was saying Sasha Banks is a complete idiot. I do not have any respect for Sasha Banks, and I still don't. Even after what happened, I still don't have any respect for Sasha Banks. I still don't have any respect for her, and I don't feel sorry for her whatsoever. The bitch is an idiot. The bitch is an idiot for signing a new deal with this company after everything that this company has put her through. After every single time she's constantly been shafted, losing titles in her first title defense. She was promised a legitimate women's tag team title reign with Bayley, and they give it to the fucking Iconics at WrestleMania 35. And then she comes back. She has 2 great matches with Becky Lynch, loses both of them, and here she is back in the same position that she was in a year ago, only this time she's a heel and she has blue hair, as opposed to being a babyface with purple hair. So Lacey Evans and Bayley were the final 2. Lacey was driven shoulder first into the post. Bayley actually used the tag rope to tie up Lacey's hand, which is actually very creative. Lacey hit the moonsault, but Bayley kicked out. And throughout all of this, I saw throughout the corner of my eye, Sasha Banks was still at the ringside area. She was still selling the effects of the women's right. And I don't know if you guys thought the same thing, but I was thinking in the back of my mind, oh, holy fucking shit, I swear to God, if they had Sasha Banks go in and cost Bayley and Lacey Evans won the title, I think I probably would have shut WrestleMania off right then and there. They wouldn't have even been a rewind. So Sasha Banks is still selling the effects of the women's right after the moonsault. Lacey's going for the kill. Banks out of nowhere came in, hit the backstabber on... She hit the backstabber on Lacey, and Bayley hit the kneeling headlock driver, and Bayley retains the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. There is a God. I tweeted out, there is a God among us. Thank Christ Bayley is still the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Thank Christ. Afterwards, Sasha Banks was looking at the championship. She gave it to Bayley, and that was it. I have to say the match was very well produced. Very well produced. Dare I say, it was better than Edge versus Randy Orton, and that's saying something. And I don't really want to say that, but this match was much better in the production area than Edge and Orton was. Edge and Orton was produced very, 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 very poorly. This was produced very, 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 very well. And you know something? If this is an indication of a possible match between Sasha and Bayley at SummerSlam, then you know what? I'm all for it. Do I trust that WWE is going to do that? No. No, I don't. No, I don't, and neither should you. Neither should you. I don't have any faith in this company. Matter of fact, for all we know, Lacey Evans is going to get another opportunity, and Lacey Evans could very well win the SmackDown Live Women's Championship at SummerSlam herself. Sasha Banks, regardless of what happened, is still an idiot. She's still an idiot. And I do have to say, again, it was very well produced. She's still an idiot, though. But if we do get Sasha Banks and Bayley at SummerSlam, then okay, so be it. We'll see how it plays out. John Cena versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Firefly Funhouse match. Cena came out in front of no one and he was going to say, "Welcome to WrestleMania," but Wyatt came up on the screen, and he's like, "Welcome to the Firefly Funhouse." So he goes into a door. He goes into a secret door. Cena then is teleported into the Funhouse. Rambling Rabbit's talking to Cena. He's like, "Hey, dude, I hear you're looking for Bray. He went in there. Just be careful, dude." Wyatt actually told Cena that he was facing his greatest enemy, himself. So Cena walked into the door. He's in pitch darkness, and the Vince McMahon puppet with the horns came in. And the puppet's talking to Cena about ruthless aggression. And Wyatt and Cena actually reenacted Cena's debut against Kurt Angle. And every single time that Cena would swing a punch, he would say ruthless aggression. Bray Wyatt kept on ducking it, and he said, "This is embarrassing, man." So then they cut to they cut to the classic Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night's Main Event Live, from the 80s. You had Mercy the Buzzard being Macho Mercy. He was being Macho Man Randy Savage. And you had Vince McMahon, the Vince McMahon puppet, Mr. McBossman, on commentary. And Bray Wyatt's introducing Cena behind the blue cage. They're cutting a promo. And then they flash back to SmackDown Live. And Cena is the Doctor of Thugonomics. Cena's the Doctor of Thugonomics, and he's doing a rap battle with Bray. Bray pretty much eggs Cena to punch him, and then Cena says, "You're going to get these nuts right up in your face," and he tosses the nuts at Bray Wyatt and goes for the punch, and Bray Wyatt disappears, and he's behind Cena. And then, out of nowhere, we had Bray Wyatt punching Cena with his own chain, and Cena falls to the mat. So Cena falls to the mat, and then we have a flashback to Bray Wyatt with his old character, the cult leader, Bray Wyatt. He's singing He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, and they flash back to the match at WrestleMania 30, the match where Cena initially buried Bray Wyatt. Bray was in his old Hawaiian shirt, and he gives Cena a chair. And Cena's with the "You Can't Stop Me" shirt from that era. And Wyatt's like, "Do it, Cena. Correct the biggest mistake that you ever made in your life." And Cena goes for the swing. Bray Wyatt disappears. And then Bray Wyatt cuts to an NWO type scenery where he's wearing the Wolfpack gear. He's supposed to be Eric Bischoff. And he introduced John Cena. And John Cena came out wearing NWO merch with the World Heavyweight Championship with NWO spray painted on it. And I actually liked what they did here, because it really resonated with the comparisons between Cena and Hogan, and everyone that said, "Oh, look at what happened when Hogan turned heel. Could you imagine what would have happened if Cena turned heel?" So that comparison kind of correlated with Cena coming out wearing the NWO gear with the championship. He's playing the championship, so they get in the ring. Cena eventually tackles Wyatt and starts punching Wyatt. Huskus the Pig is shown being punched by Cena, and then behind Cena rises The Fiend. The Fiend rising out of nowhere. He hits Sister Abigail on Cena, mandible claw, and then Cena is vanquished, and The Fiend standing over Cena. Cena then disappears into thin air. Fiend says, "Let me in," and that was the end of the Firefly Funhouse match. It certainly wasn't a match, just like the Boneyard match. It wasn't a match, but everything that they did, wildly entertaining. Wildly entertaining. Probably the second best thing about the night. That Rhea Ripley-Charlotte match, look, I know that some of you are probably going to shit on me for this, but the Rhea Ripley-Charlotte match, that was the best match of night 2. That and the Firefly Funhouse match. And then it was probably the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match. Outside of those three matches like that, the SmackDown Women's Championship match wasn't that great, but it was very well produced. Then it was the Firefly Funhouse match. I still prefer the Boneyard match. The Boneyard match, out of everything on WrestleMania's card, was the best produced segment. If we're talking about the best produced matches, then it's either the ladder match or KO versus Rollins. But The Firefly Funhouse match, very entertaining. I like how they ran through Cena's career and they ran through the comparisons with Hulk Hogan. They brought back Bray Wyatt's old character, flashing back to the match at WrestleMania 30. That was very well done. Very well entertaining. It was weird. Yes, it was weird. It wasn't necessarily a match, but it did accomplish what it was set out to do. And I really hope that this is yet another renaissance for Bray Wyatt, even though The Fiend is pretty much dead after what happened with Goldberg at Super Showdown. But I will say, this is very entertaining, weird, but entertaining. And I can only hope that Bray Wyatt is going to win back the Universal Championship from Braun Strowman whenever they eventually face off. As far as Cena goes, I really don't know where Cena goes from here. Cena mainly came back to work with Bray Wyatt. He worked with Bray Wyatt. He put over Bray Wyatt, in a sense, put over Bray Wyatt. Now, I think that probably in the next year or so, maybe by WrestleMania 38, I think Cena's going to be fully retired as an active pro wrestler, and Cena's going to be put in the Hall of Fame. If I was to make a prediction, I think in the next 2 years, Cena's going into the Hall of Fame by WrestleMania 38. I think that Cena's eventually going to try for number 17. He's not going to get it, and he is going to retire. I think he's going to risk it all. Whoever the world champion is, whether he goes for the Universal or WWE Championship, I think that he's going to put his career on the line against whoever the world champion is sometime within the next 2 years, and it's going to be number 17 versus his career, and Cena is going to lose. That's where I think Cena goes from here. Weird, but entertaining. I loved Cena's run-through of his career, and that was pretty much it. Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. A lot of people didn't really give a shit about this match, mainly because they knew what they were expecting, and especially after what happened, especially after what happened a week ago, and this report came out that Brock Lesnar legitimately went up to Vince McMahon and ranted hard. Like, he told off Vince McMahon for having WrestleMania in this environment, because Vince McMahon was the only one that still wanted WrestleMania to continue, and Brock Lesnar got in Vince McMahon's face. He got in Vince McMahon's face, and he fucking told Vince McMahon off. He told him off after everything that happened, saying that it's bullshit that we have to work in these types of conditions. And, you know, Brock Lesnar, he's the only one that can get away with talking to his boss like that, because he's Brock fucking Lesnar. And, you know, a lot of people in the backstage area agree with them. And, you know, I applaud Brock Lesnar for doing so. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And he said what everyone's been saying, what literally everyone has been saying, that he should have just postponed it. Vince McMahon merely wanted this WrestleMania to continue, mainly because of the fact that he wanted to be the guy to say, we're above this virus. And, you know something? At the end of the day, the virus still won. The virus still won in terms of this war with Vince McMahon, because at the end of the day, the show was not good. Number one, show was not good. And ultimately, WrestleMania 36 will go down as an event that spanned over 2 nights. That was a complete waste of time. So, of course, Brock Lesnar, he ranted to Vince. Good on him. I support Brock Lesnar 1,000% in that scenario. I would have done the same thing if I was in Brock Lesnar's position. And Brock pretty much said, and this is how I'm taking this. Brock pretty much said, fuck you, I'm not working a 20-minute match in the PC in front of no one. And we got a Goldberg-Brock Lesnar type match that lasted not even 5 minutes with nothing but unlimited finishers. And how sad is it? Even though I agree with what Brock Lesnar said, and even though I understand why this match was so short and why it was the unlimited Finisher Fest main event, even though I understand why, how sad is it that the 2 world title matches on this show, if you combine their time lengths, you don't even get 7 minutes? How sad is that? So Drew McIntyre came out. Brock Lesnar came out. We had Mike Rome announce the competitors. Paul Heyman didn't do his intro, actually. We had a Claymore right out of the gate to Lesnar. Lesnar kicked out. Lesnar then caught Drew with 3 German suplexes and F5, and Drew kicked out at 1. Second F5, Drew kicked out at 2. Third F5, Drew kicked out at 2 again. So Paul Heyman saying, he's very good. Just keep on doing it. You can't keep on kicking out all night. So Drew was hoisted up on Brock Lesnar's shoulders. He went for a 4th F5. Drew pushed Brock Lesnar into a 2nd Claymore. He hit a 3rd Claymore. Brock Lesnar was down to a knee. Drew McIntyre saying, come on, Brock. Come on, Brock. Come on, Brock. Hit a 4th Claymore, and Drew McIntyre is the new WWE Champion, as he should have won. I feel bad for McIntyre especially. I feel bad for guys like McIntyre and Ripley and Shayna and Theory and Garza and the Street Profits. All of these guys that got their first WrestleMania, and it's going to go down as a WrestleMania that was held in front of no one because of a fucking virus, and Vince McMahon and his ego didn't just postpone the event so we could actually have a legitimate WrestleMania. Feel sorry for him. I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm glad that they finally got the Royal Rumble winner right, and they finally had the Royal Rumble winner main event WrestleMania, even if it was spanned over 2 nights. I'm glad that Drew McIntyre finally got what he deserved. He main evented WrestleMania, even though it's going to go down as a WrestleMania in front of no one. And he beat Brock Lesnar to become WWE Champion, and that was pretty much it. It was nothing special whatsoever, and I can't really say too much about it. Can't really say anything else about it. Drew McIntyre's new WWE Champion, well deserved. I'm happy for McIntyre, and I can only hope that they follow up with a good championship reign for McIntyre once everything is sorted out. But overall, WrestleMania, it wasn't all atrocious, but at the end of the day, if you're going to tell me that this was a good WrestleMania, you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your friends, you're lying to your audience, your fans, if you have a YouTube channel or a podcast or a Twitch or whatever social media platform that you use to state what you like to state about professional wrestling. This is not an opinion, this is a fact. Just because you liked it doesn't mean it was good, okay? This WrestleMania will go down in the history books as a WrestleMania that didn't need to happen, and a WrestleMania that will go down in the history books as one that merely happened because Vince McMahon had an ego issue, just like he's had an ego issue for God knows how fucking long now, and he wanted to be above the virus, he wanted to be above the pandemic, he wanted to be above the outbreak, and he did it for the sake of doing it because he didn't want to postpone it. He didn't want to postpone it, and he didn't want to cut any more losses than he already had to. Meanwhile, you take a look at the MLB, the NBA, the NHL, and they're all willingly losing money. But they're not going out of business because they're wealthy companies. Same thing with the WWE. They're not going to go out of business, but Vince McMahon is a greedy son of a bitch because he put on a show. Even though when he didn't have to, and he shouldn't have, he put on a show just for the simple fact of putting on a show, and he would have willingly continued putting on Raws and SmackDowns after WrestleMania. They were taping set for the 10th before the lockdown of Orlando was initiated until the 30th. There was reports that tapings for Raw and SmackDown were going to continue on April 10th after the 2-week ban was lifted. There were reports. Now everything's shut down. Please don't give me the blindly grateful excuse. Please don't give me this grateful excuse. Please don't give it a pass. No, I will not give it a pass. You shouldn't give it a pass either. And it just goes to show you that WWE has you by your private parts. Just goes to show you that WWE has you by your private parts, and you are willingly taking the garbage that they are feeding you on a silver platter. You are literally being spoon-fed garbage, and you are accepting it as if it's a 5-star meal from your favorite restaurant. This WrestleMania was a terrible WrestleMania overall across both nights. Outside of Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, the Firefly Funhouse match, the Boneyard match, Rollins and Owens, the ladder match, and maybe the SmackDown Live the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match, that's all but 5 matches. And there was about 18 matches on this show. 5 out of 18, piss poor if you ask me. If you enjoyed it, by all means enjoyed it. But if you enjoyed it, I still have no respect for you because your standards are low as fuck. And again, I will state, if you are on board with me, God bless you. I got nothing but respect for you. If you're not on board with me, you are the fucking problem with this community. You don't deserve to call yourself a wrestling fan. You do not belong in the wrestling community. And I would highly encourage you to check yourself into a mental facility immediately, because you are dangerously stupid and you are a disease not just to this community, but the society as a whole. We don't need stupidity in our society. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the rewind for WrestleMania. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I am going to get out of here because I am incredibly exhausted. I need to eat some lunch. I'm probably going to check on some college work. I'm going to see what's going on as far as the other rumors go. I'm going to be watching Raw tonight. Be sure to check out the podcast, the Blue Riot podcast, of course, with the Blue Riot. Follow him on Twitter at Blue Riot with 2 T's. Thank you again for having me on the podcast, man. I will have Dark Side of the Ring review of Brawl for All up on Thursday. I'm going to set that to premiere. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. This has been the rewind for WrestleMania 36. I'll keep you guys updated if I do a Lightning Flash update. I'm probably not going to. It's been a rather crazy time. Probably just going to focus on some college work right now, considering that there's going to be no weekly shows outside of Dynamite, and I'm probably just going to do the Dark Side of the Ring reviews, and then I'm going to be doing the podcast with Blue Riot. Till then, thank you so much. You have a great day. Enjoy your week, as I've pretty much lost my voice. And I will catch you guys on Thursday.